Okay, hello world. This is Linden Tibbets, founder and CEO at IFT, back with another exciting session. Very excited to welcome Manne and Linda from Husqvarna be joining us today, one of our fantastic customers here at IFT. And we're going to be talking about different smart home strategies and really their evolution from being very product-centric to being very customer-focused or customer-centric. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Here's our agenda for today. We'll go through quick introduction, overview of IFT, overview of Husqvarna. We'll talk through two different smart home challenges, integrations, and then how to evolve both your organization and your product to meet customer needs. And then we'll have some time for some audience Q&A if time allows. So really quick, IFT. If you haven't heard of us yet, glad you're here with us. We believe everything works better together. We are the world's leading integration platform that's focused on both consumer services and consumer connected devices. We help brands like Husqvarna not only allow their most, kind of power users to create their own integrations for themselves, but also bring those integrations into their own app experiences in ways that just about every user, no matter what their proficiency level is, can take advantage of them. We have over 10 million users on IFT have connected a smart home product. You see here some of the breakdown in terms of smart home product adoption by category. The three kind of leading categories for us are lighting, things like Wi-Fi routers, Wi-Fi networks, and then thermostats and temperature environment controls. And then you see on the right there, top integrations within the smart home, obviously led by some of those most popular products. But what's really interesting and what we continue to really believe is really kind of the validation for why IFT exists is there is an extremely long tail of integrations. It's not just one or two different things that people are connecting through IFT. It's really, there's some kind of 80-20 rule at play here, but there's a whole lot of things that only a handful of customers might have. And if you think you can build all those integrations in-house, it just becomes nearly impossible for any one brand, maybe outside of Google, Apple, and Amazon, to be able to pull that kind of integration platform off. So we'd love to turn it over to Manne and Linda to talk a little bit about what they're doing with Husqvarna Automower, which I have to say, if I had a lawn, I've mowed countless lawns. It was one of my first jobs in middle school. If I had a lawn, I would have this product because it looks fantastic.
Yeah, good to hear. I'm sure you would actually, because it's a fantastic piece of equipment.
Beautiful.
So maybe you would like to know who we are. Linda, please start.
Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Lindqvist, and I'm product manager for the digital experience for our Automo consumer. And that includes our app, Automo Connect, and also smart home services like Google and Alexa, and also the IFT service.
Yeah, and I am Manne Alzén, and actually previously I was the director of product management for information product and connectivity within the Husqvarna. But actually we recently did the reorganization, so now I'm still responsible for this service, but also for new concept development and new business models within the digital and robotic space. And a few words about Husqvarna for those of you who don't know us. We're a global leading producer of outdoor power products, including traditional machines like chainsaws, trimmers, and ride-on mowers, but also what we will talk more about today, our robotic lawn mowers, the Automower. We are a $4 billion net sales company, which mainly operate in Europe and North America. We have three different divisions. where both Linda and I are a part of the Husqvarna brand division. That is the largest part of our company, comprising about 65% of the turnover. We also have two other sister divisions in slightly adjacent sectors within forest and garden and also light construction equipment. We're a rather old company. Started or was founded more than 300 years ago. So actually, it's a kind of a nice mix today between or a nice meeting today between you coming from I don't know when were you founded?
Oh, IFT is in San Francisco, but we're now kind of fully remote and anywhere and everywhere.
And when?
We were founded in 2010.
Yeah. So a 10-year company meets a 300-year company, and actually I think that is also a part of the beauty here that we can cross-fertilize our traditional industry knowledge with the startup scene and the really modern digital technology on the bleeding edge.
Yeah, we're 10 going on 300 years old.
Yeah, it's a good starting point, I think. And then regarding robotic lawn mowing, then I mean, we're the world leader here. Launched the first model in a little bit more than 20 years ago. In the beginning, it was a really quite a slow journey, but the last few years has really kicked off, and we now have millions of products out there.
Yeah, and I was actually pretty surprised by that year that the auto mowing began there at Husqvarna. Was that largely an industrial use case, and it just recently jumped to consumer, or has it been consumer as well?
Actually, the other way around.
Oh, interesting.
The journey started in the residential space, and just the last few years, we have also moved into the professional space. But I think it's also interesting to look at the difference here between US and Europe, because in US, it's still in the very early days, I would say, for different reasons. But in Europe, it is more of an established solution.
Fantastic. So yeah, so let's jump into the two different smart home challenges that we've got for today. So the first one is it's all about choosing an integration strategy, and the second one is about evolving to meet customer needs. And so we're still very clearly in the early days of the smart home, even though depending on when you kind of start the smart home clock, it could be 10 years, could be 20 years. Here at IFT, we were very surprised within a year or two of launching. We were fully immersed in the smart home world, really kind of by chance. And it's been really, really fun to see things evolve, to see customer experiences get a whole lot better. So without further ado, let's jump into challenge number one. So when it comes to choosing an integration strategy, Linda, Manne, how do you approach thinking through that strategy, at a very high level, as you started to kind of think about integrations in general? Where did you start?
Yeah, actually, quite early, we realized that we will not be able to build all the customer values that we see our customers ask for by ourselves. So we realized that we need to play together with others in one way or another. And we also know from other experiences within the company and the group that direct and deep point-to-point integration with other players is quite a costly way to go. So we started to look into other options and also play together with larger ecosystems. And here, of course, IFTTT is a very compelling option with a lot of interesting partners and that we think we can build value together with. And then, of course, we also see that it is important to be a part of the big smart home ecosystems that Amazon and Google and also Apple are building, but they play a slightly different role as we see it currently, at least, with them being more of the voice assistant, having the voice assistant approach, and you guys are providing an integration platform where we get access to partners and can build value together with them in a relative to other ways of doing it, quick and cheap way.
Yeah, and I think jumping right to the Google and Amazon topic, when you think about what those ecosystems from Google and Amazon mean to your customers, if you were to put it in your customers' words, why are those so important to integrate with directly?
No, but we believe that many of our customers, they have a very deep relation to these brands and to these solutions, and they are very integrated parts of our customers' lives today, and maybe even more in the future. We don't know. And I mean, we also want to be an integrated part of our customers' life, and a way of achieving that is, of course, to play together with the big ones who are already there, or at least might be there also in the future. And exactly how this will play out, I don't think we know yet. But we have placed our bets in a few different baskets to sort of build a good position for the future. Yeah.
And when you think about adding a new integration, whether that's with IFT or without IFT, how do you really kind of game plan that? Because there's probably infinite things that you could integrate with. Does it start with a customer? Does it start with a use case? Does it start with how the product is marketed?
Yeah, I mean we have built quite a good understanding of what our customers are asking for and what they need, and I think that is and will always be the starting point, and we will also touch that in the next challenge. But I mean, so that is a driver and where we start, and then integrating with others is a solution to building those values that we are looking for.
Makes sense.
So Automo Connect is the app that we have that is part of the complete offering for our Automower, our robotic mower consumer. Our complete offering is, of course, where the mower is the most important component, delivering the mowed lawn. And then we have accessories that enhance the experience and services. And then we have the digital ecosystem where Automo Connect is the most important part. And we also have the smart home services. And Automo Connect is the main interface between the customer and the mower. It has served as the remote control for the mower. You can control it from wherever you are. You can start the mower, pause the mower, and you can monitor it, see where it is. And when something happens, you can handle it through the app. But going forward, we want to add more intelligence and tailor the experience more to the personal need of the customer, their situations, where they are located in the world, the kind of situation they have with their grass, what kind of grass they have. We can add more intelligence there to make the experience better. And we also want to engage our customers more and keep building the relationship that they have with the mower through the digital experience. Our customers have a unique relationship with the mower. They love it and treat it as a pet. They name it, and we can keep engaging our customers more. And we also want to give them more support and advice through the digital experience to help them achieve the best result with the product and also with their lawn. Help them with the lawn care.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, Linda, how often does the mower actually run on average for customers? When I think of traditional mowing the lawn, I think of it as a Saturday, Sunday afternoon kind of thing. But when you're not actually powering it yourself, does it run multiple times per week, or is it still kind of a once a week thing?
It runs continuously, and the customer sets the schedule themselves. So it's up to the customer when they want it to run. But it is, so it's scheduled, and it's more running daytime, I know, but also it can run nighttime.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that there is a slightly different technique for cutting the lawn. Actually, here the principle is to cut a few millimeters at a time, while I mean, when you cut on the weekend or every other weekend, you cut a few centimeters or a centimeter or so. And actually, this is it's more healthy for most grass types to cut them just a little bit at a time. And of course, when you do it yourself, you don't want to cut it every day. So there you have a limitation. But now when we cut it autonomously, then we can choose to cut it in a different way, which also gives a premium result.
Yeah, that's incredibly cool. And I can see too how there's a really big kind of selling point just around it being better for your lawn and having a healthier, more beautiful lawn, not just saving customers time. Exactly. I'd also be curious in terms of when a customer actually schedules it. Do you find that your customers are scheduling it when they're actually like not home or not around, or do they usually kind of do it at hours where they would usually be home, like in the evenings or in the morning?
Normally they schedule it when they're not at home.
But
of course, I mean, we also see that people are interested in also initially they want to look at it and see how it works and how. But of course, as time goes by, I mean, it gets more. I mean, you know those kind of those parts. So then you normally run it when you're not at home and you want to use the lawn.
I think it also depends on how large your lawn is.
Yeah.
If you don't want it to be in your way, if you want to do other things, you will schedule it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's such a different type of relationship. With mowing the lawn. That's super cool. So let's move on to our second challenge, and it's really about evolving both your organization and product to meet customer needs. And it sounds like Manne and Linda have gone through quite an evolution there at Husqvarna with their Automo product. And so to kick things off, really what caused you and your team to make this transition from kind of a product-centric mindset to a more customer-centric or customer-focused mindset?
I think we could say that we have always focused on our customer to bring value to our customer with the Automo product, and we built a product to solve customer needs. But with the digital experience, it has been focused on supporting the product features mostly. But now we can see that the digital experience itself can bring value and add more value to the experience, and more than a mowed lawn, it can bring additional value to the consumer. So I think it's for the digital experience, it's been important to see that.
Yeah, and also, I mean, traditionally or until recently, I mean, the digital part has been an add-on to the product. Now instead, the digital part is becoming more equal to the product itself in providing the customer value that we are looking for, and that will also impact, I think, which part of the complete solution that puts requirements on the other part of it. I mean, traditionally, the product has been fixed, and then you add the digital part piece to that, and the digital piece has to adapt to the product. But I think that in the future it will also be the other way around, that we see that we can provide value driven from the digital part that will also impact the requirements on the products.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and something that just about every company, especially those that have been around for 300 years, transition that they're going through. I think there'll be a lot of eye rolls when I say digital transformation, but that's exactly what it is. One of the questions that I'd be interested in is how, what's one or two of the signs internally from your team that this transition is working, that people are beginning to think in a new way whether it's, digital first or customer centric, or, do you see your team starting to behave in new ways that they weren't necessarily doing 5 or 10 years ago?
Yeah, okay, I will answer that. Yeah, actually, we're currently in the process of organizing ourselves a bit differently to achieve what we want to achieve here, where we are adopting an outcome-driven approach. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with the concept where we engage a larger part of the development team in not only implementing specified features, but rather achieving an outcome in terms of customer engagement or customer value that we try to measure. And we're in the process of changing the way of working and organizing ourselves in that direction, instead of ticking off a roadmap of pre-specified features that product management has thought about for 3 years.
And there's really kind of 2 different approaches as, traditionally physical or product-based businesses make this transition to being much more digital. There's kind of the one-off, so each product line maybe has its own app or some of its own digital infrastructure. And then there's kind of the centralized version of it all, where there's multiple product lines and they all kind of tap into the same centralized digital infrastructure or app. And we've actually seen organizations move back and forth between those 2 different models. Kind of what model are you using there at Husqvarna, and have you moved between those 2 different worlds or are planning to in the future?
Yeah, it's an interesting reflection, observation actually, and I would say that we apply some sort of hybrid where we have a common digital backend where we have implemented the more common building blocks that we want to secure or that are used across all services that we have and all products, such as user management, our data lakes, master data services, security layers, and so on. Those kind of things we have built commonly, and then we have applications built on top of that. And there we have actually moved a little bit back and forth between the 2 worlds. And actually, Automo Connect that we're talking about today is our so far largest and most successful service, and that is actually built quite standalone or more in that end of the spectrum, with its sort of pros and cons, obviously, but I think that with that approach that's the most agile way of doing it, and I think that in this particular case, I think that has been a success factor.
Yeah, and we could nerd out on the different architectures all day, and one of the reasons I asked that question, you started to go in that direction there, Manne. It's really all about the customer. And so I think what I hear you saying is that, being able to really kind of carve out and kind of go your own road with both the infrastructure and kind of the approach to digital really allows you to kind of create the best customer experiences. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but then, how do you think of that as a model then as you go out and try to make the 2nd and 3rd most successful products, even maybe outside of the Automo or realm? Is that something in which you're going to want to replicate that, or do you see it more as that becoming the more kind of centralized system that other products are then kind of tacked onto?
No, I think that we will continue with some kind of hybrid model where we try to identify the more fast-moving parts, where we are creating more the customer experience and those kind of things. But then to not have to build all the sort of the boring stuff, the infrastructure in the lower layers too many times. We try to find the synergies there between our different digital initiatives. And I think that is a principle that we will follow also going forward. I mean, actually also below that common digital backend, we also have even more slow moving parts with our ERP solutions and manufacturing systems and all of those things. And then we have this common digital platform layer. And on top of that, we have our applications. And the applications are the fast moving parts where we see that we can also be very agile and respond to customer needs and adapt quickly, both in terms of features and functionality, but also business models.
That's great. That's great. One of the other trends that we've picked up on is that for businesses transitioning, from physical to digital, that, one of the biggest challenges is shifting that mindset in terms of what the actual goal is. So obviously, if you're selling a physical product, you want to sell more of those physical products, and that's fairly straightforward. But as you kind of cross over and make those physical products also digital, there's also this real need to engage users, to keep them coming back, doing more things. And often those companies have some longer term strategy to even tack on some different revenue generating things that are recurring, not just a one-time purchase. So when you think about how you orient your teams around goals, how do you balance between kind of acquisition or acquiring new customers, getting more people to buy the product, and then getting people to use the product in more and different ways?
Yeah, I mean, we certainly recognize those two aspects of the business, of course, and I would say that still we are a quite traditional transaction-driven company, but also we see that as the user base grows, we also see new opportunities in making good things both for and with that user base, as you of course also do with your business. That when you have a certain number of users, I mean that in itself creates possibilities in both for the users but also for us as a company, and we are starting to reach those kind of numbers now, and that is also why we are expanding sort of what we are doing with this particular app and the solution. I mean, we are introducing e-commerce, for example, integrated into the app for two reasons. One, actually to solve the customer need, because to ensure that they get the loan result that they want, they need to have the right equipment. For example, in our case, you change the blades, the cutting blades, on a few times per season, and if they don't change those blades, the result gets worse. And by using e-commerce, we lower the threshold, so they actually buy those blades, and of course that creates a revenue for us, but actually also solves a problem for the customer. But before, when we had a low number of customers, those things didn't really make sense. I mean, building e-commerce functionality for only a few tens of thousands of users doesn't really make sense. But when you're approaching several hundreds of thousands, I mean, then it makes sense to both for the customers and for us to go into those kind of features and solutions.
Yeah, that's incredibly interesting. So you could almost imagine a future in which you're going full on with the Gillette razor strategy, give the Automo away for free, sell the blades.
Yeah, I mean, there are of course numerous ways of playing this going forward, and you can be sure that we are thinking of and exploring different possibilities here. Even though I think it's quite far till we go fully into the Gillette strategy, but of course there are hybrids and things in between.
Yeah, that's super cool. I didn't even think about the replacement of the blade. Shoot, I used to sharpen my own mower blades myself, so
Yeah.
it's.
But these are small sort of razor blades.
Yourself,
Yeah.
just buy new ones.
Yeah, I mean these are sort of short razor blades that are rotates under the mower, so it's quite similar actually to the Gillette razor blades, but slightly different shape and form.
That's really cool. Awesome. Okay, and then really quick, would love to show off some of what we've done together with Husqvarna and IFT, and specifically IFT Connect. So you see here, and maybe actually better to turn it over to you, Manne and Linda, to walk us through, and I'll play the video right away or whenever you want me to. So.
Yeah, so what we have done is that we have added 2 connections to our app, Automo Connect. And the 2 ones that we focused on was Park Mower with a Google Calendar event, where you can schedule your mower through Google Calendar. If you have a party or something that the mower should park. And it's really easy to just click connect and go through the steps with IFT.
Yeah, and you see here this video that's playing is really that experience of going through and connecting Google Calendar within the Husqvarna Automower app. So trying to make it as easy as possible. Entering passwords we found is literally the worst user experience, really no matter what service you're using. And so part of the value that we really want to bring to the table is to help users do that in a standardized way, and do that as few times as possible. So once you've authenticated either your Automower or your Google Calendar to IFT, a user never has to go through that very painful process again. And what we've seen is that, you know, if you have to enter that username and password, that's right off the bat, it's about a 50 to 60% drop off in terms of people making it through the flow. But if you can take that step out of there, you gain that 50 to 60% for all the people that initially wanted to do this thing.
And the second connection that we added was Park Mower if weather forecast predicts frost or heavy rain. And this is the biggest success. It's very easy to understand and brings an immediate value to the customers. They want to protect their lawn when it's raining, and this is where we see the largest engagement from our customers. And it's really easy just to connect and add your location, and then it's the weather underground forecast that predicts heavy rain or frost. Yeah. So we are waiting now to have the first frost morning to see if I'm going to go out and see if my mower parked.
Okay. Yeah. And, oh, go ahead.
And this has also, the weather connection has created the biggest social media buzz, that because it's so easy to understand, and we've seen the engagement from our customers here, and they're excited and think it's smart.
That's cool. I think that weather underground connection it actually highlights another thing that I think is very different about IFT Connect relative to what a lot of people are used to with applets, and that, you know, this, you know, both uses the weather forecast for rain and frost. So there's actually a lot more you can do beyond just if this then that with a connection. It's really a full-on integration. Really, and our hopes is it's a full-on integration in the same way that you would get if you're building natively for other APIs, but instead saving a whole lot of time and money building that through IFT.
Yeah.
I mean, that is how we envision it to work. I mean, that is. I mean, of course, we want to create a super good customer experience, super smooth here, and provide that experience in our touch point, and use the IFT capabilities to enable us to do that.
Awesome. Yeah, these are such great examples. And here, really quick, would love to touch on some of the success that Husqvarna has seen with IFT Connect. What you're looking at here is a graph of connected users to IFT for the Husqvarna Automower product. And you see they're launched in July 2020. and immediately a huge boost in the number of users that are connecting things through IFT. And that really goes to show, and it almost sounds obvious in retrospect, but if you can bring those integrations to your customers and the experiences that you're already trying to get your customers to come back to and engage with every day, you're going to see a lot more success. And that's one of the things that a lot of brands out there are just now starting to understand as it comes to IFT. Connecting to IFT and getting your customers to build things with IFT is awesome, but just the very nature of asking your customers to go to another app, to download the IFT app, to figure out how IFT works, you're actually losing a whole lot of the value. And there's a whole lot of customers out there that are interested in building or using integrations, but aren't ready to go download another app or think through it all for themselves. And this is such a great kind of representation of just how much larger that audience could be if you bring those integrations into your own app experiences.
Yeah. And that's why we were very excited it's about a year ago when we started talking about IFT Connect with you, that you would have this possibility to bring smart functionality into the context where our customers are used to interacting with Automower. We knew that if we can bring it to them, they will engage, and we can see that it was an immediate result, and that's very exciting to us.
Yeah, and I mean, still, if I think that to us, I mean, these numbers are still, I mean, low in absolute terms. But what was interesting here was the response that you also show in the graph. That we see that we did something relatively small, also for all the limited part of our users, and they responded. And this is a sign for us that yes, here we have something. So let's now see how can we continue to develop this, and how can we make this not only something that only a small percentage of our users actually benefit from, but actually a large part of our user base. And that we'll talk about completely different numbers. But I think that the interesting thing here is the immediate response and the feedback that we got. And then we know that we have something to build on. Also giving the experience from other sort of experiments or early launches we have done. We know that when we get this kind of response, there is a possibility to do something very good for the future. Because at least I don't know what your experience is, but ours is that if you don't get an immediate response, it will be very hard to make it fly long term. But if you get this kind of response, you know that yes, here we might have something, and then you can take this small part, that's still small, to something successful long term, because you sort of got the initial feedback.
Yeah. There's got to be some kind of self inertia,
exactly,
whatever that MVP is. And I think we're so excited to be partnering with Husqvarna to really bring this out to many more users. And I think what's also really exciting for us is to hear you talk about, almost 20,000 of your users connected since launch as a really small number. And so when you think about how many of these Automowers are actually out there and how many customers that you have, it's just, kind of mind boggling, because, here in the US, and I live in San Francisco, so I don't see a whole lot of lawns in general, but that's just a whole lot of connected product out there. And it's just a brand new category that I don't think a lot of other people are really aware of. And I think that just goes to show that you've really got something, and it's really kind of coming to a suburb or a town near you soon, or a lawn near you, more elegantly put. Yeah, congratulations. This is really exciting.
Thank you. It is.
So yeah, that's all we've got to show today, folks. Want to thank our guests from Husqvarna, Manne and Linda. So glad to have you on and talk a little bit more about what you're doing with the Automo product line. Congratulations with all of your success so far, and excited to help build whatever integration you have in mind in the future. And thanks for sharing some of what you've been going through and how you've approached building what is so far a really exciting product.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Linden.
Really interesting conversation.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for a great collaboration that we have. We're really excited to work with all of you.
Us as well. Thank you so much.